Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Churches of Central Alabama. Hello to all of our folks joining us online. Whoever you are, whomever you love, wherever you are today, and wherever you are on your spiritual journey, you are welcome here. To all who are here this morning, welcome home. I invite you to get out your connection card from your order of service as Patty comes forward to do the announcements.
We appreciate your attention to today's announcements. You'll find announcements in our order of service on the and for you at home on the slides. If you require accommodations during our service this morning, our ushers are available to assist. Our adult enrichment team has been working on a variety of opportunities for you this fall. Please take a moment to pull out your connection card and let us know which ones you're interested in. Folks online, see the connection card via the link in the chat. Today, after the service, we have several things going on, including the vegan food truck that was here last Sunday, I believe. Not Your Average Leaf. It'll be outside in the parking lot. And then at 11:30, you can join Dr. Piacine in the Voca room to discuss healthcare economics, and that will also be via Zoom. Plus, the humanist group are meeting in the library after the service at 11:30. And if you signed up for the Beacon program, we're meeting today at 4 p.m. Tomorrow, September 19th, Reverend Julie and Courtney will be starting a 7-week course on reproductive justice. If you're interested in attending, please sign up on the connection card. It'll be held in person and via Zoom. For all other opportunities, read your order of service, check out the new monthly newsletter in the back. For online folks, if you'd like a monthly newsletter mailed to you, please contact the church office. The prelude prepares us for worship. Please rise in body or spirit for the lighting of the chalice. We light this flame, the bright warmth of belonging, of companionship, of interdependence. We light this flame to remind us we belong to the earth, our sacred home. We light this flame to remind us we belong to human families, biological and chosen, and to the entire human family. We light this flame to celebrate this community here gathered to which we belong, which claims our loyalty and affection. We light this flame to call to mind the transcendent, the holy, known by many names and by none, to which we also belong, which holds and sustains us. We light this flame an affirmation of the responsibility we share to make our communities one where we all belong. And in the spirit of inclusivity and welcome, take the next few moments to greet those around you, especially if it's someone you don't recognize. Please be seated for the opening words. We are one, a diverse group of proudly kindred spirits, here not by coincidence, but because we choose to journey together. We are active and proactive. We care deeply. We live our love as best we can. We are one, working, eating, laughing, playing, singing, storytelling, sharing and rejoicing, getting to know each other, taking risk, opening up, questioning, seeking, searching, trying to understand, struggling, making mistakes, paying attention, asking questions, listening, living our answers, learning to love our neighbors, learning to love ourselves, apologizing and forgiving with humility, being forgiven through grace, creating the beloved community together. We are one. Please rise in body or spirit for the opening hymn, number 346, in the hardcover hymnal.
Good morning. I'm John Laurent, a member of the board. Our church is supported by those who call our church home and by those who support the efforts of our church to change our world for the better. If this is your first time with us, please pass the plate. We are just glad you are here. We share our cash plate every Sunday with organizations whose work reflects UU values to care for marginalized persons, advocate for real and systemic justice, defend our environment, and promote justice and equity for all. Today's Share the Plate will be for Chocolate Milk Mommies, a nonprofit dedicated to supporting Black maternal health care. Chocolate Milk Mommies seeks to decrease Black infant and maternal mortality and morbidity rates and to decrease racial disparities in Black maternal and child health by implementing initiatives that support breastfeeding and increase access to maternal and child health care resources, education, professionals, and trained peers in Black communities. We appreciate your donations either by placing them in the plate, by mailing your donation to the church, or by using PayPal, Venmo, or Zelle. Our Venmo account is at UUCBHAM. Our Zelle account is office@uucbham.org. Please designate whether your offering is for UUCBHAM or Chocolate Milk Mommies. Thank you for your generous support of our church and our Share the Plate recipient. May we give in love and in hope.
Now is that time in our community when we share what is on our hearts, whether joy or sorrow. For those of you online, please share yours in the online chat and hold one another in love by putting parentheses around each other's names. For those of you in person today, you are invited to come forward and drop a stone in honor or in memory of what is on your heart today. Please come forward. Today we celebrate with Caven Kerr because it is his birthday this morning. We all love you, Caven. And today we also lift up the entire Kerr family on the loss of their father and grandfather, Bob Kerr. We are keeping you in our thoughts and prayers this week as you remember him, and we are here for you. If you have updates you'd like me to share with the congregation, please let me know. May we keep one another in the spirit and in our hearts and minds this week. Please take a moment to hear this spoken meditation, followed by a moment of silence. And for this meditation, when it comes to you, the pronoun you, please put in place of that whatever you connect with in this eternal, mysterious universe. We have not forgotten. In nature, we seek you. In the whisper of wind, in the new green wood, your presence is near. We have not lost hope. In the dust of the desert, in the rush of the wave, in the rise of the mountain, your presence is near. We remember the cycle in the promise of blossoms, in the dying leaves, in the bare branches. Your presence is near. Please take a moment of silence. Amen and blessed be.
Good morning. I'm Jim Sullivan. I'm your choir director. I just wanted to offer another invitation to you to come sing in your choir. We're waiting on you. We would rather sing with you than for you, and I told you last week my ultimate dream is to just face this way when it's time for the choir anthem. But we're growing and we're super happy about that. I wanted to tell you about this piece, just a couple of sentences. Jacob Norverid is an American composer, arranger, and conductor who was born in 1986. He composed this piece called Sisi Ni Moja in 2015 for the Michigan State University Children and Youth Choirs. They were celebrating an event celebrating unity and community through different cultures. His goal was to create an uplifting and hopeful song that had a modern and popular style, sound, and vibe. And I thought nothing could better sum up the mission of our UU Church in the broader community in these divisive times than this song. The words of the song, I'll read just a couple of them, and we will do our best to make the rest of them intelligible for you. We all laugh, we all cry, we all feel hunger, we all feel pain. We all love, we all hate, we all hope, and we all dream. We are one world, one people, and we all breathe the same. A tribe of many languages, a group of many heartaches, fighting for peace among the land. And the word Sisi Ni Moja, he took from a different language, and he intentionally misused it so that it wouldn't pertain to any one thing. Sisi Ni Moja means we are one, and Hey Ya, which you'll hear in the piece sung a lot, is literally, it doesn't mean anything. It's just a happy outburst.
We Good morning. Two things. I have missed you, choir, so much. I didn't realize how much I missed you. I had goosebumps, so many goosebumps. You all are fabulous. And I'm getting verklempt. It's great. So anyway, focus, Courtney. Second thing. Wow, it's gone. Okay. It was really important. Oh, I know. Tuscaloosa. Hi, Tuscaloosa friends. Just saying hi with you all here today. And I'd love to invite all the children and youth and anyone who is young at heart. Where are you, Marcia? I see you back there. To come forward for the story. Hello, friends. How are we doing? There's Piper. We all having a good Sunday morning? Y'all are surprisingly quiet. I feel like you're tricking me. Like this is gonna, yeah, there you go, Royal. It's gonna rebound. So I have a story to share with you that you may or may not know who I'm talking about, but we'll figure it out. We'll figure it out. Yay, I love a mystery. So, what do you want for your birthday? A father asked his daughter. Do you want a doll? She wrinkled her nose and thought, no. He said, a tea set? No. A pony? No. No, Father, I have a year to think. I want this year to be special so that I remember it. All right, Father said. You think and you let me know. So she's going to think about what she wants. Ellen thought. She thought about bonbons, always a good choice. Chocolates. Most of us would agree. Some of us, I know, don't like chocolates. New dresses, a new hat, maybe new shoes. None of these things were what she wanted, though. What would be special? So each day her father asked her, Ellen, do you know what you want for your birthday yet? What do you think she said? No, she still didn't know, you're right. But after 4 days, Father said, Ellen, and she said, Father, I have decided. Yay. Well, okay, Father, I have a riddle for you. I will tell you what gift I want for my birthday. This is the riddle. You cannot buy it, for it is worth all of the money that you have. But only you can give it. I need to repeat this riddle because it will tell me what gift you want for your birthday. So Father thought, I cannot buy it because it's worth all of the money that I have, but only I can give it. Is that right? Yes, Father, said Ellen. Well, now it's my turn to think about your riddle. I have to find the perfect present in this mystery. Father paced and pondered. He repeated the riddle over and over. I cannot buy it, but only I can give it. He paced and he pondered. Finally, he smiled. I know what it is. Now, he had to think about how to give it. When Ellen's birthday came, there was no present from her father. Puzzling. She didn't expect one. After she had opened the presents from her brother and her sister, from her mother and her grandmother, after the cake was all gone and the celebration was over, Ellen's father said, now it's time for Ellen's present from me. Ellen, come sit with me. So Ellen climbed up into the armchair and sat on her father's lap. My present to you is very special, he said, and I hope it is what you wanted, for it's not a book or a toy or clothes. But instead, it is a present that for all the seasons and for each day. This year, your birthday present from me is that we will spend time together each and every week. Just the two of us. For you are my very special child, and I love you dearly. Ellen hugged her father. Oh, Father, I knew you would figure out my riddle. Her father said, you cannot buy it because it is worth all of the money that you have, but only you can give it. It took me a long time to figure out the answer, but when I did, I knew what the gift was that you wanted. The answer is simple. Give yourself. Oh, Father, I wanted a gift to make this year special. Time together with you will make this year the very, very best year of my life. Ellen looked into her father's eyes and said, Father, why are you crying? He said, because you teach me more than any book I've ever written or ever read. By giving you time, I will gain more than I give. And now it was Ellen's turn to figure out this riddle. How could Father, by spending time with her, get more than he gave? She thought she knew. Love multiplies. But perhaps she would only understand when she was older, when she had a child of her own. But Father understood, and when he wrote an essay on giving, he wrote, Give yourself. For he knew the wonder of this gift. And Father was Ralph Waldo Emerson. Ta-da. Thought that tied in, hopefully, a little bit with, there you go, see? On the brainwave. All right, y'all. I'm so excited. Can everyone sing us downstairs?
Are constantly evolving at this church. Just as we had our pandemic services in a rhythm, we came back in person. And just as we acclimated to coming back in person, we transitioned again, this time having the honor of welcoming our congregation in Tuscaloosa to join us. That means on the back end of things, there's a lot more going on than had been happening previously. I now bring my phone up here on Sunday morning so that we can sync up with Tuscaloosa right on time. And, that's not such a big deal, except for those of you who have smartphones, you know that your phone is always listening. So after service last week, So after service last week, when I preached on belonging and connection and friendships and developing relationships, my phone was suddenly full of articles from Psychology Today about how to make friends. Yay. Our AI overlords are listening. So tomorrow marks the first anniversary of the meeting of the Transcendentalist Club from 1836. Ralph Waldo Emerson, Frederick Henry Hodge, Bronson Alcott, James Freeman Clarke, and Converse Francis gathered at Sophia and George Ripley's home in Concord, Massachusetts, to create a symposium focused on the free discussion of theological and moral subjects. Other members would soon join: Theodore Parker, Margaret Fuller, Orestes Brownson, Elizabeth and Sophia Peabody, Henry David Thoreau, Nathaniel Hawthorne, and William Henry Channing. You may recognize some of these names from long ago, studying them in school. These folks were the intellectual thinkers of New England, and most of them were Unitarians. But the transcendentalists of the early 1800s aren't just important to American history, they are our spiritual forebears, some directly, some indirectly. These were some of the first English-speaking folks who taught that humans are inherently good, but can be corrupted by society and institutions. They were some of the first folks who spoke out against slavery. They taught that insight and experience are more important than logic. They taught that spirituality should come from the self, not organized religion, and that nature is beautiful and should be respected. Transcendentalists also argued that humans all contained a little spark of divinity, and all of these values are wound into who we are as Unitarian Universalists today. So every year, as a UU minister, I add the Transcendentalists to my preaching calendar, and every year I wonder whether my passion about Transcendentalism is even something that anyone else cares about. Their first meeting was over 200 years ago. How could anything they say continue to be relevant? And why, after all, should we study their history? Every year I wonder, and every year the answer comes to me. Do you have a favorite transcendentalist? My favorite for years has been Amos Bronson Alcott. For his time, Bronson was an innovative, revolutionary educator. He created schools with his values: no corporal punishment, no rote memorization, and a belief that each child just needed the encouragement to find the greatness found within themselves. His classrooms had added features that were new and innovative. No other school had these. He put backs on the benches where the students sat so they would be a little more comfortable and be able to pay attention to their lessons. He improved the lighting and the heating so that they would be physically more comfortable. And he insisted that each child have their own slate, in today's words, their own notebook, to practice their lessons. Alcott's assistant, Elizabeth Palmer Peabody, was a Unitarian, and she would go on to create the first English-speaking kindergarten. But like many good teachers, Bronson Alcott was also a bit controversial. Children at the school he opened had individual desks and individual materials instead of benches. He argued that children already contained the wisdom of the Christian scriptures, and he asked his students to question biblical miracles. He had the audacity to suggest that all people are part of God. He was known for teaching flippantly and offhandedly about the virgin birth and circumcision. Instead of forcing students to copy from texts written by adults, Alcott taught his students to write from their own experience, saying that their experience as children was already valid. He taught with conversation and discussion, not lecture and drill. Parents and students alike found him so eccentric because his teaching style was so different, and he had trouble his entire life keeping his schools open and funded. It was almost as if he was born in the wrong era, since so many of his educational ideas are implemented now, and I imagine that Bronson Alcott would be thrilled with the idea of public schooling. But perhaps the most controversial act that Bronson Alcott engaged in was his dutiful lessons to his 4 daughters. Intentionally educating women in the early 1800s, especially poor women, as this family frequently found itself, it was just not done. Despite financial struggles and Bronson's mental instability due to his continuously failing projects, Bronson's greatest success is usually credited to his creation of his daughter, Louisa May Alcott, the writer of Little Women, a fictionalized story of her life. Nearly 200 years later, we have still not cemented a system of schooling in the United States that exemplifies our values. I mentioned many controversies about Bronson Alcott, most of which you would not find controversial today. But his revolutionary ideas still yet to have existence in our schools. Corporal punishment, that idea that we should physically discipline children with spanking and other means, remains legal in many schools. It is implemented daily on young children, and in some school districts, it was once banned and is now making a comeback. That's the wrong direction, folks. Individual desks are giving way to group tables and alternative seating, often to accommodate large class sizes and the lack of funding that our schools have to deal with as they remedy overcrowding. Students are invited to share from their experiences only if they fit within a very small window of experiences. Sharing about non-traditional families or non-Christian beliefs or their own personal identities is often met with rebuke and suppression. Recently, one of my husband's friends and colleagues, Summer Beauwarmier, became known nationally for her attempts at fighting back against the suppression of diverse voices. Summer taught at Norman High School, the exact same high school I taught at before entering ministry. So when I say I understand what Summer was fighting against, I very much do. A couple days before classes began, teachers were instructed to purge their classrooms of any literature deemed controversial by the Oklahoma State Legislature. Because, like every teacher, she had 1,000,001 things to do before the start of school on her own time with her own money. She had to buy classroom resources. She had to clean and set up her own room. She had to ration her copies on the copier. Summer decided to cover up her bookshelves in her classroom with butcher paper, providing a notice that these books were not available until after she had time to vet them all. In welcoming students to her English class on the first day of school, Summer informed them of the decision of the state legislature and alerted them to a free resource for all the books they could imagine, a free banned book resource from the Brooklyn Public Library. One parent complained, just one. Summer was immediately pulled from her classroom and told she was suspended. Then she started talking about it. So Norman Public Schools, who is obsessed with their image more so than the education they provide, tried to bring her back into the fold, and she rightfully refused and resigned. This story is one of many that is happening in our public schools across this country. Parent Facebook groups are popping up all over the country that are formed by concerned parents who want a free education that teaches their children only their values, with people that look and act like them. These parents are literally creating Gestapo reporting agencies to tattle on teachers. I'm not kidding. They actually have Google Forms that you can fill out. It is no surprise that nationally, at the start of the 2020 school year, 36,504 full-time teacher positions are unfilled across this nation. That number could be potentially as high as 52,800 because some states do not report their missing teachers. So we're talking about somewhere in the range of 40,000 missing teachers in classrooms this year. The parent group in Hoover called Local Alabama created a form for parents to fill out any reported teaching of critical race theory, any reported teaching of LGBTQ issues, or any issue that reveals the ugly truths of our history. There are equivalent groups in Mountain Brook and Vestavia Hills and others all over the country. While I will never discourage parents from being involved in their children's education, the posts in these groups are from parents who clearly do not understand laws, educational academic standards, current educational practices, or the myriad of student needs that teachers and other staff have to balance by law. Teachers would love to just teach. But they are constantly having to pivot to address the laws passed by non-educators, as well as to care for their students' well-being, from food insecurity to abuse, and maintaining flexible classrooms to accommodate active shooter drills and the myriad of absences from students. And the Supreme Court has been no help, declaring in Kennedy versus Bremerton School District that yes, coaches and teachers can pray with their students, dismantling protections for our children from the imposition of religion in public schools. The Alabama State Legislature is paying too much attention to other states as it crafts its laws. And it recently borrowed an oppressive law from Oklahoma. The Alabama Literacy Act requires that third grade students pass a reading test to be on level, and if students fail that test, they fail the entire third grade. On its face, it might sound like a good idea, but it's much more inequitable than it sounds. Schools are required to test children, but the state will not provide extra funding or extra resources, except for a few literacy specialists who are spread out over many schools and may visit a school once a quarter, if at all. It is not a coincidence that public education was well funded until integration became required by federal law. The Alabama Literacy Act will disproportionately affect the black and brown children in our state. As the second highest educated religious group in America, immediately behind Hindus, we Unitarian Universalists have an obligation to protect public education and the students within. You are many of the smartest people that I know. Our transcendentalist forebears are part of that legacy of highly valuing education, even the ones like Bronson Alcott, who were self-taught. Our values challenge us to value the inherent worth and dignity of every individual, to accept one another, to promote a free and responsible search for truth and meaning. We all know that an educated society is better for all of us, and we mean that broadly. We want a mechanic that understands the basics of engineering. We want a food server who can make change quickly and accommodate allergies. We want folks to make a living wage, and currently that is all wrapped up in their educational level. And we all benefit from voters who have a basic understanding of civics and what is going on in the world. In anticipation of the devastation that could be caused by the Alabama Literacy Act, Mayor Woodfin and Birmingham City Schools have invested in programs to help these students pass their exam. And they are requesting our help, the help of the entire community, to come together and make sure that all Alabama third graders pass that test. Because as Mayor Woodfin said last Wednesday at our meeting, one third grader failing that test is too many. That is going to permanently scar that child for life. The Page Pals program, which Mayor Woodfin created, encourages a shift for 30 minutes a week. And there's another program in town called STARE that has 1 to 2 hour of shifts per week. These programs are for people like us in the community to go sit with these first through third graders and read to them. Everyone in this room has at least a 4th grade reading level. We can all be a part of this. I hope you'll join me in investing in our collective future by signing up in the narthex for more information or by contacting the church office, and for us to put our heads together on ways that we could help this initiative in our community. Folks in Tuscaloosa and online, I encourage you to find out in your local school system how you can help. And all school systems benefit from our help. Our UU values and the inherent worth and dignity of every person trace those values back to the Transcendentalists and so many others. Our tradition is rooted in the education of all of us, of all ages. We are lifelong learners in this community. The UU Church in Birmingham was created solely for the purpose of educating the children in our community. And while I'm still learning about Tuscaloosa, I bet our community in Tuscaloosa had similar origins and values. We all value good education for our children. None of us would allow our own child to fail that test, but we need to help. We need to help those working parents who work 2 to 3 shifts a day, who themselves have been oppressed by a system that educates some people better than others. We can come together as a community with the inspiration of our transcendentalist forebears to be a beacon of inspiration and to improve outcomes for all. Amen and blessed be.
Okay. Please rise in body or in spirit for our closing hymn, Extinguishing the Chalice, and remain standing through the benediction. Our closing hymn is 1028 in the teal hymnal.
One
get turned off? Okay. Cheered by our community, blessed by our covenant, uplifted in mind and renewed in spirit, go forth with courage and in peace to meet the days to come. Blessed be.
As you go forth from this place, be reminded of how our history informs our present and our future, and find your way to get implemented and plugged in as we connect to our wider community and world. Go in peace.